they're like, oh, where's Casey at now? And then Kate is like, he's over there having a chat with Soul. And she's just like, the timing. Mm. Hey, kings and queens, it's your girl Pretty Lynn, and this is Pretty Lynn Sovereignty. Y'all probably came in here talking about, like, who is this girl, child? It's Sunday night, contacts are out, done took my hair down. We're restarting, refreshing for the new week. So I know y'all came here to talk about the Love Island season 8, episode 10 review. So let's not waste any more time and get straight into it. So the episode starts off with my DL sister Bea being gone, even though she doubled down on those rumors being false. I still beg to differ. Anywho, Bea's gone. You know, everybody's still sad. Gabriel, he pulls Jen to, what is it called? All in the Fields. And they pretty much talk about, like, him telling her, like, hey, like, give me some time. I'm going to be a little bit, emotional and down because we had a good connection and she was just a really good person, yada yada. And then Jen was there, comforting him and telling him, like, it's no worries for her. Like, she's just going to be there to support him during this time. And then Jen, I don't really know about her yet. I feel like I'm not getting anything from her at all. Like, I'm not getting anything to form an opinion about her. I just know that in my opinion, she does not give bombshell material. And that's just that. And then of course they pan over to Kinsey having a chat with Caleb, who's her new match. And to me, like, this conversation seemed a little odd because it seemed like she was just saying everything about him besides saying, like, you're white. It seemed like, because you kept saying, like, I've been waiting for a guy like me to come in, somebody with similar backgrounds who speaks the same as me. So a white person. You were looking for a white man, but you ended up falling for a man that's not white. That's apparently he said he's Asian, Jamaican, and black. Am I right? So her goal was to find her somebody that was similar to her, but she ended up falling for, you know, yeah. So I'm just like, but she just looks miserable with him. Like, she does not look happy. And I'm just like, Kinsey, girl. And then she just kept talking about how, like, her and Corbin got pretty close. I'm like, yeah, y'all got close in the bed. That's what had happened. And then now, since you kind of gave it up in in a certain type of way, now you don't want to move on to the next connection because he's just in the back of your mind. Anywho, everything pans over to Soul and Sincere. I don't know about them anymore. One thing I noticed that is that Sincere didn't get that much screen time this episode, but I just don't know about them. Like, it just screams like his words don't match his face, if you know what I mean. Like, when he says something, it just seems like his mind is elsewhere. So I'm just like, I don't know about y'all anymore. And then Mel and Corbin, they have a chat in the speakeasy. And honestly, I don't mind their dynamic. I don't know if it's because Corbin brings out, like, a calmer side in Melanie that I actually enjoy. Like, I'm like, okay, she's actually tolerable now that she's not crashing out. So I was just like, okay, I feel like I kind of rock with their dynamic so far. I'm not mad at it. And then in the dressing room, Melanie had a conversation with Saul and pretty much was like, hey, I don't want there to be any bad blood between us. I just really like Sincere and I really wanted that to work out, yada yada yada. And, Saul was there to, reassure her, comfort her, whatever. And then they hug, and then immediately afterwards, Mel was like, quick question, like, did you and Sincere kiss when y'all talked earlier?
Really?
And then Soul told her yes. And then after that, she decided to go sleep in Soul Ties by herself. You couldn't pay me to go sleep in those Soul Ties. I don't care how mad I am. I'm not doing it. And then everybody, goes to bed except for Melanie being outside by herself. And one thing you noticed was, like, Kata and Zach, I feel like they be trying to get busy every night anyway. But Zach told, like, whispered to her, saying, like, hey, like, do you want to take things a little slower? Because just in case, like, a bombshell comes in and then, we end up not being coupled up anymore, like, I wouldn't want us to move too fast. Zach, are you sure, like, that's the reason why you don't want to move too fast? Or is it because you don't want Bryce to see you moving fast with somebody else? What's the real reason? And then the next morning, when everybody gets up or whatever, um, Casey has a conversation with, I forgot who he was talking to, but he was pretty much talking about the whole Melanie. Oh, I think he was talking to Corbin, but he was pretty much talking about the whole Melanie sleeping in soul ties thing, and he was just like, I think she just did it for attention because, I'm not gonna say he doesn't give a f, but he doesn't give a f, and he was talking about sincere. I'm like, which I agree with. I feel like he's only trying to act like he's bothered by it because he wants to make sure he still has access to Melanie, if that makes sense. And then after breakfast, Casey and Soul have a conversation, and pretty much Casey chats with her. And I don't know, I feel like that conversation was Casey trying to like introduce, something at least, like just to make sure that they're like, I don't know. I just feel like that conversation was very intentional. Very, very intentional. And Casey was saying that, everybody knew that I was, attracted to you and wanted to talk to you to stand a third. But, I'm just good at, like, good where I'm at right now with my current connection. So I didn't want to ruin that. So that's why I didn't really pursue that. I'm like, everybody knew? The only thing I knew of was the fact that, he said that she looked like his ex. But, like, as far as you wanting her, I don't remember that. Maybe they didn't show us that. But I was just like, no wonder Aniya was probably tripping about that. Hmm. All right. And then you see Corbin and Kenzie have a chat or whatever. And Kenzie, I don't think she can get over that thing. When they say once you go black, you never go back. Okay? And I don't think she gonna leave this Japanese nigga alone. I don't think she can. I do not think she can. So, Kenzie and Corbin, they're not matched up anymore, but for some reason, Kenzie and Corbin cannot leave each other alone. Okay? So, they had a chat, but they ended up not kissing during the chat. And then Kenzie follows Corbin into the kitchen. It was just like, no kiss is crazy. And he's just like, we're not coupled up anymore. And she's just like, I know. Next thing you know, they go up to soul ties, start filling up on each other, and then they start making out. Who knows how long they were up there. But Melanie, I don't really think she cared. Honestly, I think she's just grateful to be in the house. But Caleb, I can tell he was bothered by it for sure. But they didn't care. They did not care. They want each other, okay? But they're gonna do what they have to do to stay up in this house, okay? Then you see Melanie and Kinsey, they have a conversation, and pretty much, Kinsey tells her that like I have strong feelings for Corbin. Like I really do. I feel like we built a strong connection to the point where, I have feelings for him. And Mel tells her, like, hey, like, my intention is not to hurt anybody. So I won't do anything with him until you give me the green light. Kenzie, she's just like, you have the green light. Granted, Kenzie, I don't think it's fair for you to not allow Corbin and Mel to explore their connection to its fullest potential if you're doing that with Caleb. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And I'm just like, I don't know why you feel some type of way. You still have half of your roster. Hmm. Okay. Next thing you know, fast forward, Casey gets a text about the challenge. It's pretty much like a soccer challenge. And you know how they do it with the little challenges. They give like a little, you know, cliffhanger or whatever to make everybody be excited about what's about to go on. So we pan over to the challenge, and pretty much each couple is a team. And it's like a soccer challenge, but it has like multiple obstacles where each couple has to go through it until the end where they do grab a question and they have to slime the person that they think that the question applies to the most. Of course, messy, messy drama island. Okay, messy. One of the first things I put in, I said Corbin, he was just ready to kiss. He been begging Melanie to kiss him for who knows how long, and this challenge was the perfect excuse for him to do so without him getting in trouble with anybody. Okay. I knew Zach was going to ace this challenge, and I'm not saying anything else further on that topic. I just know that he was going to do amazing, which he did. Since we're talking about Zach, let's talk about how messy he is. So during their question, his and Kata's question, it was like, who do you feel like is acting like they won already or whatever? And they decided to choose Casey to dump. And pretty much, they were asking like the person that was hosting the game was like, "Can you explain why you said that?" And Zach was like, "Well, pretty much, we all knew when Soul came into the house that Casey was interested in exploring her, but he decided to not explore her because he wanted to, keep things going well at home." Okay, so they're like, we felt like we wanted to dump him because he's not exploring his full potential. Immediately, you see Aniya's face change to a frown. And this frown stays on her face until the very end of the episode, which was expected. And then here goes Zach making it about himself again. Oh my gosh, I really I hate when, it's like it's always my question. It's always me. I always have to be the bad guy. I have to deliver the bad news. It's always me. These challenges, man. Wow, just so mad. Da, 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 da. Shut up. Another thing I put in my notes is that Kenzie, she just looks so miserable with Kayla. Free Kenzie, child. She looks so miserable. Why? This is what you wanted. You wanted a white man that you can take home to your family, right? You got him. What's the problem? What's wrong? Anywho, fast forward, they all take a real shower and get ready for the night. And, everybody, they go outside, whatever, start drinking their little wine, that the 1 cup of wine they get a day. They cheers to like, their connection like they do every night. And, afterwards, Trinity and Kata, they go over to have a chat together. And immediately, Trinity was just like, I'm still upset because, Bea is gone. And, she was like my best friend in the villa and I miss her so much. And then she immediately is like, so what do you think about Jen and Gabrielle? She was like, do you think they're moving way too fast? Or, like, how are you feeling about that? And Kata was just like, I don't really feel like they match. And Trinity was like, yeah, they don't. She was just like, honestly, like, I feel like he is doing a lot. Like, yeah, I don't feel like he should be moping about it, because that's not what we're here to do. But I just do feel like he's doing a lot for Bea to have just been here last night. Like, it was just crazy. Of course, they start giggling about it because they're like, yeah, we just feel like he moved a little, too fast for, Bea to have just been here literally last night. And honestly, again, Jen and Gabriel, they can both go. I don't feel like they're serving anything on this villa besides just making out with each other. Y'all can go. Go back home to Miami and do some freak offs or whatever. This island is just not for y'all anymore. Goodbye. Then it pans over to Melanie and Corbin, having a conversation. They go upstairs to talk. And Melanie's like, hey, like, let me know more about your background. Like, let's, learn a lot about each other. He explains to her about his background, yada yada. To me, if anything, learning more about Corbin's background confirmed that he's a production plant to me. He's a part of production. And I am going to stand on that. I don't care, okay? He's a production plant. And it shows. Time and time again. It shows. And then of course, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Kata, Aniya, and Zach have a conversation. And Aniya is pretty much confronting them in a soft manner about why did they vote the way they did during the challenge. Like, why did y'all slime Casey? Like, I feel like that was kind of like a dig at me, and I really feel insulted by you guys' decision to slime Casey. And then Zach, he goes in and starts explaining himself and said like it wasn't a dig at you at all. We said nothing about you being the safe option. We were literally just saying that we felt like Casey wasn't exploring all of the people that he was attracted to, aka Soul. So that's all that we were saying, and I just wanted to be honest with the question, with the answer to that question. I wasn't trying to offend you or take a dig at you. I was just answering the question to the best of my honest capabilities. And while they are having a conversation, Casey then goes and he pulls Soul. And then they start having a conversation. And, he's getting to know Soul and was just like, hey, like, again, like, I did want to kind of like have a conversation with you because I was interested in you once you first came into the house. But I just didn't want to ruin, the good thing that I had. So reassured him and pretty much told him like, hey, there's nothing wrong with exploring. You can still be respectful of the connection that you're in now, but like exploring someone new, like nothing's wrong with that because you just never know like what connection will be the best connection until you explore, which is what the whole premise of this island is for. And then while Kata and Anaya and Zach are having their three-way conversation, um, they're like, "Oh, where's Casey at now?" And then Kata's like, "He's over there having a chat with Soul," and she's just like, "Ugh, the timing." Mm. Instantly, you can just tell she's just irritated. I'm like, Lord, Naya, Naya, Naya. Next thing you know, she leaves that chat and she goes up to Casey and Soul and was just like, "Can I pull him for a chat?" They go and have their conversation. And Naya instantly was like, like everybody feels like, I'm your safe option and I'm more than a safe option and I don't want to be a safe option. Yada, da, 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 da. And then Casey was just like, I never said that you were a safe option. And I'm pretty sure Zach and Kata denied that they ever said that she was a safe option. So honestly, I feel like those words were kind of made up in her own head and she's just using it as ammunition to just go off because she's upset and she feels vulnerable because of the fact that Casey is interested in Soul potentially. And they did say that Soul did look like Casey's ex. So I think she's just very insecure about that. And she doesn't really have any other connections or any other people that she can explore. So of course, if her only connection and person that she's been locked in with since the beginning, can potentially be exploring somebody else, that puts her at risk. So I mean, I can understand it in that aspect, but I really just hope that some bombshells come in soon that are attracted to Anaya and Trinity, so that they can also explore too. Because my girlies, they going outside right now. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. And I don't want to be the one that's getting annoyed by y'all because y'all are coming off as insecure. But I feel like at the end of the day, I can also understand where y'all are coming from because y'all don't really have much options besides the people that y'all are with right now. So if they go decide to do some crazy Christopher Columbus stuff, you're vulnerable and you're going home. Anywho, in the midst of all of that, Kata gets a text. Very on brand, by the way. Kata gets a text, and it was just saying pretty much the hideaway is now open and that everybody needs to vote for a couple to go. I instantly knew it was going to be Zach and Kata because the way the whole episode was going, especially with him telling her, he didn't know if he wanted to, like, move or take that very next step so early on or whatever. Like, I'm just like, I knew that it was going to be them two. And everybody voted for Kata and Zach to go to the highway. Kata was excited, whatever, and Zach was like, "Oh, we're not gonna do anything." Kata was like, "No, we're going to be doing everything." My girlie is freaked out, okay, but hey, good for her, good for her. And Zach, y'all already know how I feel about Zach. Y'all already know how I feel about him. So I ain't gonna say much anything further than that, but I just we gonna see next episode how everything turns out at the hideaway, okay? Because right now I don't want to just assume because my brain is just assuming. But I just don't know how things are gonna work out in the hideaway because I just don't personally don't feel like Kata is Zach's type, gender wise. And I rest my case. But the Islanders, y'all need to learn from last season. Cause this little chant and dance y'all had, it ain't gonna beat the eat that kitty, eat that kitty in the hideaway. Y'all need some work. Y'all need to learn from season 7 with the little chant. Cause this right here, it ain't it. It ain't it. Y'all need some work. Y'all need some auto tune. Something, some turn up, whatever. Y'all need some help. Y'all need some milk. Try again. That was not it. But I mean, that's pretty much it for this episode. I feel like this episode was pretty like it was a little mid. I mean, we're gonna have some mid episodes during this season, so like I'm not surprised. I really want to continue to see how these current couples are gonna flourish. The little preview for next episode, I do see that Kenzie and Corbin are still going to be trying to like explore each other some more, which kind of contradicts what Corbin was telling Melanie, because he was telling Melanie that he kind of wanted to, focus on the connection that he had with her, and he doesn't really want to keep like going back and forth to Kenzie to give her the wrong, idea or whatever. And he said that he was going to have that conversation with her because he hasn't told her that yet. But based off the preview, it looks like he's gonna be pulling an insincere. And I'm just like, Melanie, I don't know what it is, but these men, when they talk to you, like it seems like they can't just focus on you, like, or they can't be honest for some reason. Like, I don't know. Maybe he will be honest about it in the next episode. We don't know. The previews, it just try to give you enough to keep you invested, but you really don't know like what's gonna happen. It'll all be based on how they edit it. But that's it for this review on this episode. Thank y'all for tuning in again. It's your girl Pretty Lynn, and this is Pretty Lynn Sovereignty on the What's the Reality TV segment. Of course, subscribe, like, comment, share. We're still a newer channel out here trying to get out there. All right, roll call. Are you new here? Yeah? Okay. Well, I'm gonna have you do real quick is press that like button or the dislike. Either or is grateful. Okay. I always know that I have room for improvement. So if you want to dislike, do that. If you want to like, do that. Either or, like I will appreciate either option. Leave a comment, like talk back to me. I'm talking to y'all. Talk back to me. Okay. And then if you like the way things are moving, as we're grooving, subscribe. Subscribe, turn the post notifications on so that you can be aware of every video that I drop when I do drop them. And if you're true here, you should have done all of those already because that's what makes you true to this. Okay, you ain't new to this, you true. That means you liked, you commented, and you subscribed. And after that, you shared it with somebody. Whether it was to be messy about like, what's this girl doing? Or whether it was to like, put somebody on to some gems, okay? But yeah, I'm done trolling y'all. I'm done playing with y'all. But thank y'all for tuning in on this video. It's Love Island Season 8, Episode 10. I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.